person, whether they work, really hard and are stressful environment, whether they have lots of children, whether they have lots kinds of responsibilities, what kind of foods they eat, diet they're on. And then we also look at the third thing, and that is what kind of environment they may find themselves in, whether the climate's very hot, whether there's toxic chemicals around, and those kinds of things. By putting these three factors together, we can begin to put forth a better and more precise therapy, which will address that person as an individual, as opposed to the average within a larger group. So the College of Health and Life Sciences is doing basic research within those fields to try to advance and make a real strategy towards moving forward to applying precision medicine to everyone. The college itself is a hub of interactive knowledge sharing in precision medicine. Again, the multidisciplinary, which I've talked about before, you will cross disciplines. Just because you may be in genomics doesn't mean you won't also know something about the biochemistry, the immunology, and other factors. There's a broad spectrum of collaborative cutting-edge research opportunities, and I'll present those to you in just a minute. The college itself is an open and supportive community of faculty, postdoctoral fellows, and students. Most of us are all located within one area, and we interact very much every day. So the faculty will be talking to the students, and the postdocs will be helping to guide the students in research, and it goes around and around so that everybody is being helped to achieve the best they can in their research and in their education. We have a collective of research partners, and I already mentioned that in terms of the Research Institute, QBRI, but there are others as well, and I'll bring those up again in a minute. We also, as the College of Health and Life Sciences, have a successful record in graduate training at both the Masters of Science level and at the PhD levels. If I can have the next slide, Malika. So the College of Health and Life Sciences currently has 3 graduate tracks, and 2 of them have Masters of Science and Doctor of Philosophy degrees. They are Genomics and Precision Medicine and Biomedical and Biological Sciences. We also have a program that leads to the Master of Science in Exercise Science. Now, the college itself has 17 primary faculty within it, 12 joint faculty, and 29 adjunct faculty. So you can see there is quite a collection of faculty, and the reason this is important is because it opens up many doors. So if you have a particular research interest among all of these faculty, you're likely to find someone with an interest in that same interest and to drive you to discover new science discoveries in that particular field. We're also not a small graduate college. We have currently 134 students, and those students are driven across a number of national backgrounds. We find that this diversity is really important because when we come to a problem, there is a diversity in approaches and thoughts related to that problem based on their individual background. So that is a real strength. We currently have 42 alumni with Master of Science degrees, and we have 7 that have already graduated with their PhD degree. Next slide, Malika. So one of the really fun things, and the reason that most students elect to go into the biomedical sciences, whether that's genomics, exercise science, or biological and biomedical sciences, is the opportunity to really get into a research lab and to conduct experiments that you can think up, that you're guided in, and to make discoveries. And I'm talking about to elucidate new information that nobody else knows about. There's something really cool about that. And when you publish your first paper on that research and you see your name and you know that you have now made a contribution to advancing the life sciences, it's a very good feeling. So I think with that, I'll pass it back to Malika to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Edward, for such a warm welcome. I will now move on to the academic overview of the programs, which will be presented by our faculty members at CHLS. First, I would like to invite Dr. Namer, the Division Head of Genomics and Translational Biomedicine at CHLS, to present the MS and PhD programs in genomics and precision medicine.
Thank you, Malika. I would like first to welcome everybody on board, and I'm looking forward to have a direct interaction with the future leaders that I would like to see graduating from our college, and mainly from my division, the Division of Genomics and Translational Biomedicine. Can I have the next slide, Malika? So why we want you to join our team and why our team is unique. My division, Genomics and Translational Biomedicine, tackles the most important issues nowadays that's facing humanity in general, and particularly those who are ill. And that's it. We need to know what are the causes of the disease. Most of the diseases are driven by genetic or environmental factors. And nowadays, we know even the environmental factors have an effect both on the genomics and epigenomics that are the main driving force that are going to give us a phenotype at the level of the human beings. So we have designed our division in such a way to provide a program that is going to focus mainly on genomics and precision medicine. And as Dean Stonkel mentioned, precision medicine is something that has shaped up the field of medicine in the last 10 years, and of course is going to be with us for the coming years. I'm not going to say centuries, but essentially, this is why we need to have a very important and deep knowledge about genomics and how genomics is going to affect not only diagnosis, but also prevention of the diseases that are going to be common, non-common, or mainly, imposed by us, by the environment. And the latest example is the COVID situation that we are facing for the last year. Now, why we have a unique program, I'm going to be proud of saying it, that our college is unique of providing this program in genomics and precision medicine because it is the only one that is given in the MENA region. Of course, other universities in the United States, in Europe, and in other parts of the world are giving a program like this, but in our region, it is the only program that is given at Qatar here. And of course, and we are proud of it to be part of these efforts to shape up the new knowledge in the field of medicine. Why it is a very ambitious program? Because it is a continuum between the undergraduate, the graduate studies, and hopefully postgraduate study. So we are offering now two programs, one leading to a master's degree, and this master's degree is based on a program with 33 credits that include 5 mandatory foundation courses and a minimum of 3 elective courses. And of course, we are going to add to it, a part which is research driven, which is in fact a 9 credits research thesis hours that are going to be dedicated so that you learn the techniques and of course you perform the actual techniques and of course understand the rationale behind these. Now, all of this could be done and should be done in a period of 2 years. After finishing your master's degree, you can enroll into a PhD program, which is targeting a very in-depth knowledge on the field, and it is covering different areas of genomics and precision medicine, getting from, of course, the ethics till doing the actual DNA, RNA manipulation, measuring these variants, and of course, at the end, assembling the data and correlating them with the clinical features that are affecting different diseases. And this is, in a way, a continuum between the different spectral from bed to bench and back to bed, because what we need to deliver at the end is a specialized or precision care for the patients. And the program is given in such a way that we have a didactic lecture series, but also a sort of problem-based learning with different clinicians with whom we are interacting, especially those at Sidra and Hamad Medical Hospital. And what we are offering is only one mandatory foundation course, which is related to introduction to data science. And of course, we are going to have all the important courses, which are centered into around 5 electives. And at the end, what you need to do is, of course, to perform research, actual research, to generate data, and more importantly, to publish them. And here we are requiring to have really solid publication, at least 2 of them, to be able to graduate with a PhD in genomics and precision medicine and contribute to the advancement of science and be the leaders in the future. And to ensure that you are getting all the necessary environment to grow, to mature into those leaders, we have assembled a spectrum of faculty from different backgrounds who are going to be helpful in mentoring you and providing you with the necessary knowledge and know-how in terms of research to build up your own identity, your own career as an independent researcher. Can we have the next slide, Malika? These stellars in the field are covering many aspects of genomics and precision medicine, and we've been lucky. And again, the thanks should be to the founding dean to have recruited all these individuals to be part of our growing faculty in order really to establish a state-of-the-art, not only technology in its deep meaning, but also in the environment that is provided intellectually. We are pleased to have Dr. Omar Al-Bagha with us, who is an expert in the field of genomics, especially in rare diseases. We have Dr. Bourboula Mifsud, who is very championing the epigenetic part, especially in diseases like cancer. We have Dr. Nadi El-Haj, who is an expert in epigenetic and chromatin modulation, especially in the field related to aging. And lastly, we have 2 on board young faculty who are in the additional spectrum of genomics. One of them, Dr. Jitesh, is an expert in the field of pharmacogenomics. And as I mentioned previously, what we need to care for is not only prevention of the disease, but also to make the necessary adjustment of drugs. And this is where genomics and pharmacology are merged into pharmacogenomics. And last but not least, we have an expert in the field of C. elegans, which is being used as a model for genetics for the last 20 or 30 years and have really made a big impact in our understanding of how functional differences at the level of the genes can have impact on the way organs are formed, or also how the organs are going to be responding to a given drug. Next slide, please. Finally, to ensure that everything is working in a best environment, we have a really dedicated facility which is going to cover all the spectrum of the genomic information, from genetics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, and proteomics. And this was ensured by a dedicated personnel led by Dr. Muhammad Aitalib, who is supervising our facility, which includes a dedicated bioinformatic lab, whereby you can use different software and hook with people from around the globe to ensure that you communicate directly, you get your queries answered directly, and of course, to look at the data in a deep meaning. And that I'm stressing on the fact that we are looking at the interactions at the level of nucleic acid, the level between proteins and drugs, and of course, combining all together these state-of-the-art software and technology to come up with answers to the questions that any researcher in the field of genomics and precision medicine would ask. With that, I would like to end this session and welcome you again. Hopefully, we are going to see you among us in the coming month, and you get to know more about the college in different aspects. Thank you, and I am passing the floor to Malika now.
Thank you for the valuable information, Dr. Nema. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Ramatar, Professor and Division Head of Biological and Biomedical Sciences, to present the MS and PhD programs in BBS.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Malika, and thank all of you for joining this info session. And we're here to provide all the information possible to you. Again, I just want to reiterate that I'm the head of the Division of Biological and Biomedical Sciences. And it's a great pleasure to actually tell you about our division. Now, the way I'm going to do this, I'll tell you about the programs that we offer. We offer 2 degrees, a master's degree, as well as a PhD degree. And then I'll tell you about our faculty and the type of research that we actually do, so I can introduce you to the type of work that we are studying here. Now, as I mentioned, we have 2 degree programs. One is a master's and the other one is a PhD. For the master's degree, you'll have to complete 33 credits altogether, and you should do this in about 2 years. You will have to take 5 core courses as well as 3 elective courses. And in addition, you have to attend seminars as well. And you will be given a project to work on for at least 2 semesters. And then what you will need to do after that is to write a thesis and then defend that thesis. And along the way, we'll provide all the expertise that you need. And as my colleagues mentioned, especially the dean as well, mentioned that it's more like a family here, and we are all accessible. So you're able to communicate with each one of us on a daily basis to make sure and ensure that your work is actually moving in the right direction. The same also holds true for the PhD degree. So in the PhD degree, you'll have to complete 54 credits altogether, and you will be taking only 6 courses. Now, you'll be doing 3 core courses and 3 electives. And we are planning to have a new course that will give you the opportunity to learn state-of-art equipment, state-of-art science. All of that will be incoming for the fall session. You will be asked to attend seminars. It's compulsory to attend these seminars. You will be asked to take part in journal clubs as well. And you will be assigned a project. So you have to be creative and expand on that project, make new discoveries. And then you will have to write a dissertation as well, and then defend that dissertation towards a 3-year program. So it could be you could finish this program in 3 to 5 years. If you work very hard, you could graduate in 3 years. We have a few students who have done it, and I think you can actually do it yourself. So now I want to tell you a little about our division. So if I can go to the next slide, please, Malika. So it's not switching. So here we are. So we are 8 members in the division. So we have 5 assistant professors, Dr. Horn, Dr. Farhan, Dr. Biswas. We also have Dr. Zen and Dr. Khan. They're all assistant professors. They're well trained, and they have various projects that you can tackle as well. We also have an associate professor, Dr. Johan Eriksson, and myself and Fadel Tisser are both professors in the unit. Now, we also have, importantly, 2 lab managers, and that's Dr. Italeb and Dr. Awida. They are both dedicated, as my colleague pointed out, very, very dedicated, highly efficient, and our success actually depends on them. Now, they also run on an annual basis a workshop. So each year they have this 2 weeks workshop, and they will provide you with all the state-of-art training that you will need throughout your career. They will provide you guidance on how to grow mammalian cells, how to do molecular cloning, how to operate a large scale of microscopes that we have here, including confocal, and we have newer microscopes as well. And so far, you have already been introduced to the Dean, as well as our Business Support Officer, Malika, and Sarah, who is our Senior Administrator. So if you have any questions, you can always ask both Malika and Sarah regarding our program, or you can contact any one of us, including myself. So what do we do now? So let's move on to the next slide, please, Malika. So we use various model systems. So we're using baker's yeast, and this is the yeast that you would actually use for baking bread. And you could use it for a number of other reasons or other purposes as well. We use yeast as a model system. We use C. elegans. We also use fruit flies. And we also work with normal cells, normal human cells, as well as cancer cells. And we also work with patient sample. And only recently, we have actually developed a drug screening platform, which you will be introduced to. So basically, we have got a nice robot, several of them now, and you can actually perform drug screening, try to understand what these drugs are actually doing, how they get into the cell, and their actually endpoint, how are they targeting certain molecules. So we have this program set up now, and it's available to anyone. So we're using these model systems to study a number of processes. So we are asking key questions. For example, we're asking, how does defective genes lead to diseases? And so some of the questions that we are asking about these defective genes, for example, how does defective genes lead to hearing loss? How defective genes cause resistance to chemotherapeutic drugs? You have heard about cancer patients being resistant to various anti-cancer drugs. And the question is how. And I myself am tackling this issue, asking question, what about defective transporters? These are transporters that will actually bring in drugs into the cell. And you can imagine if they're defective, then the drug just cannot enter into the cell. We are also asking, how does defective genes disrupt signaling between the brain and the gut, leading to mental and health disorders? We are also asking how defective genes cause cardiovascular diseases, and we are actually searching for new therapeutic agents. We are also looking at how defective genes lead to breast cancer, and we are also asking how an aggressive form of colorectal cancer is caused by certain defective genes. Not only the genes that we're looking at their biological endpoint, we're looking at the products that they encode and look for interaction among these proteins. Now, once we have these studies carried through, we understand a lot about the defective genes, then we channel the information to our colleagues in the Division of Genomics and Precision Medicine in order for them to help us guide us to the patients who have defects in these genes, so we can further characterize these genes as well as the patients. And I think I will end there, and I thank you very much for your attention. I can be reached anytime.
Thank you for the valuable information, Dr. Ramatar. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Townsend to present MS program in exercise science. I would also like to remind you again that if you have any questions you would like to ask, please share them on the Q&A box and we will answer during the Q&A session.
Thank you, Malika, and thank you to the former presenters, Dean Dial, George, and Dean Stunkel. Welcome everyone to the session this afternoon. My name is Dr. Nathan Townsend, and I'm an assistant professor in the Division of Exercise Science. The Division of Exercise Science is the newest division in the college, actually. And this division was founded because part of the Qatar 2030 national vision is to improve the health of the Qatari and the local population through physical activity. So as some of you may know, that physical activity is very important for health, and so it's quite important to have a course which is focused on exercise science. Next slide, please, Malika. So I'll just go into a little bit more detail about the program. Right now, we only have a master's degree in exercise science, as opposed to the other two divisions which have both a master's and a PhD. So for the moment, exercise science is just the 2-year master's degree course. And this is actually a joint program. If you notice down there in the bottom right corner, it's a joint degree program with the University of South Carolina in United States. And that's really, really nice to have that joint program, because the University of South Carolina is the #1 ranked master's degree in exercise science in the United States. So we have a very good partner to work with, and we're also able to work with some of their faculty on projects, and they give us assistance on supervision of projects and that sort of thing as well. So the program, you will have a degree. When you come out of the degree of exercise science, you have a joint degree. You have a degree from both Hamad bin Khalifa University and the University of South Carolina. So that's something that makes our program quite unique and special. As with the other two master's degree programs, it's a 33 credit point program. There are a number of mandatory core courses. So there are 5 mandatory core courses, and those courses are actually the top 4 or 5 just there. So public health, biostatistics, research methods in exercise science, physiology of exercise, those are the core courses. And then there are a number of electives. And as per the other courses, there is also a thesis research component. And the research at the moment, something that is really, really special, I believe, about the exercise science course here in the college, it's not so much the course itself, but it's the college as a whole. There are not many colleges around the world that are offering exercise science programs that are within a college that also has genomics and biological science. So this actually really makes our degree quite unique, and it's a strength that is really, really interesting, because the field of exercise precision medicine is something that is an emerging field. It's quite young, and we are quite well placed then to develop this field at HBKU in conjunction with the other programs. So that's something that I'm very, very excited about, and I think we all are really excited about, because it gives the students in our program also perhaps an opportunity to collaborate with the other two divisions as well, and work on questions that are of interest to health and precision medicine, but using exercise as the modality. So as opposed to doing a project that might be looking at a drug intervention or a particular signaling pathway or something like that, we would look at how in greater detail how exercise is related to questions of health, and how exercise can be used as a, shall we say, a therapy rather than a drug to treat common diseases. And mostly we are looking at trying to understand the effect of exercise on treating diseases of lifestyle, okay? So as opposed to rare diseases that might have an underlying genetic component, we're looking at diseases such as hypertension or cardiovascular disease or type 2 diabetes, which are affected by lifestyle. Next slide, Malika. I'll just go on and discuss the staff members that we have. So as a new division, and it's an emerging division, we are supported also by the same business unit, which is Malika and Sarah, and we also are supported by Mustafa and Mohammed, who are our lab managers. And the primary faculty, we have our Associate Professor Paul Grimshaw, who is the head of the division, and his expertise is in the area of biomechanics and sport engineering. And now that's really, really, it's really useful, because one of the partnerships that we have is with Aspetar Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Hospital. So we are currently developing projects that are working with Aspetar, and one of Paul's area of expertise is looking at ACL rehabilitation and ACL injuries. And that's one of the special units that they have at Aspetar. So if that's something that you're interested in looking at the rehabilitation of the anterior cruciate ligament, we're well placed to do research in that particular area. Dr. Hind Mansour is an assistant professor, and her area of expertise is epidemiology of physical activity. She's currently developing collaboration with the Qatar Biobank. And Qatar Biobank is also part of Qatar Foundation. And this is a really, it's quite unique in the world. There are some biobanks internationally. And when I say a biobank, what that means is it's a large amount of data. And in this case, there are about 10,000 records, and which an epidemiologist can interrogate that biobank. So Dr. Hind is looking at studies. She's developing a risk stratification profile for cardiovascular disease that would be very specific to the local population. And the way that she's able to do that is to study the records, the 10,000 records that are part of the Qatar Biobank. So that's something that's quite unique as well. And not many exercise science programs have that opportunity where you are working with a biobank that is just for the population of the country. I am an exercise physiologist, and my area of expertise is looking at cardiorespiratory, applied cardiorespiratory physiology. In particular, I'm interested in the effect of low oxygen environments, so the effect of hypoxia on the physiological response to exercise. And this area, hypoxia, is an emerging area. It's something that we have been using for a long time to improve the sport performance of elite athletes. For example, you may have heard of altitude training for sport performance. But more recently, hypoxia is being used as a therapy, so as a way that we can potentiate the effect of exercise and perhaps use that as a therapeutic modality to improve the outcomes in clinical populations, such as diabetes. Next slide, please, Malika. We can talk a little bit about the laboratory facilities that we are currently developing. As a new program, what I've been able to do and what we are currently doing at the moment is we are developing new laboratories. And what that means, like, it's really, really lucky. You know, I feel very, very privileged to be in the position because we are fitting our laboratories out with all of the latest equipment. So this picture here is this is a picture of our new exercise physiology laboratory. And some of this equipment here that I've listed here, the cardiopulmonary exercise testing, metabolic cart, the automated blood pressure systems, the oxyplex near-infrared spectroscopy, that is a device which we can use to measure muscle oxygenation. All of this equipment is state-of-the-art. It's as good as you can get. So we are well placed to do some really innovative work in the area of exercise physiology. The Biomechanics Laboratory is also going to be a state-of-the-art biomechanics facility, and we have a Kistler force platform. There is a wireless electromyography system, and what that is, that's for measuring the electrical activity of the muscles during movement, and a Vicon three-dimensional motion capture system. So all of these systems are world-leading brands and world-leading systems for biomechanical analysis of movement patterns and muscle activation and that sort of area. So what that means is there's sort of, you have a little bit of a choice. If you're interested in exercise science, then you have a little bit of choice to go in some different areas and slightly different topics and research topics. So we will be doing the research projects. Mostly those research projects will be conducted in-house. So what that means is we will do them in the laboratories at HBKU that are located in the Education City area. thank you all for listening. That's all for me now. And I'll throw it back to Malika to conclude for the division.
Thank you, Dr. Townsend. That was very informative. I would like to invite Dr. Edward for his closing remarks.
Thanks, Malika, and thanks to everybody for making their presentations on their programs. If I can have the next slide. One of the things that's really valuable about HBKU, and in particular the College of Health and Life Sciences, is that we have a number of valued partnerships that expand the opportunities you have available to you to participate in state-of-the-art research. So, for example, there's the Computational Research Institute, the Biomedical Research Institute, Weill Cornell Medicine is also a partner, Genomics England, Imaging Institute in Paris. Of course, we have adjunct faculty also at HMC and at Sidra Medicine. We have a MOU with Aspetar. We are quite heavily interacting with the Qatar Genome. And of course, one of our programs, Exercise Science, is a joint degree with South Carolina, which actually allows the students to go to South Carolina for a term or more if they wish. And then we also have faculty and interact with Qatar University. So if you think of the adjunct faculty, the joint faculty, and our strong primary faculty, as well as these partnerships, the universe is quite large for you to attack in terms of your science interests. If I can have the next slide, Malika. Okay, I'll let you go on from here, Malika, and pass it back to you.
Thank you, Ed, for highlighting the partnerships. And I would like to introduce you all to Ms. Sarah, who will be your point of contact for all student-related matters once you're accepted. Next, I would like to invite Muhammad Al-Salat from Enrollment Office to talk about the admissions and application requirements.
Thank you, Malika, and Assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining us in this information session. So I'm going to talk about the admission requirements for applying to the programs that the faculty have already discussed. For the master's program, we require a bachelor's degree from a recognized university with a strong academic record, meaning a minimum of 3 out of 4 GPA for the applicants of the master's. For those who are using a different grading system, we urge them to provide us a grading scale in order for us to convert their grades into the GPA system. The same goes for master's degree. Who are applying for PhD, they need to have a master's degree with a minimum of 3 out of 4 GPA. The same thing with the grading scale. We'll do the conversion once we have the grading scale provided by the students if they're not using a GPA system out of 4. For the applicants to master's and PhD programs in genomics and precision medicine or biological and biomedical sciences, they should have a strong background in science and evidence of coursework in biological and medical sciences. For those who are interested in applying a Master of Science in Exercise Science, they should have at least a bachelor's degree in exercise science or a related field, for example, biological or biomedical sciences, as well as previous coursework in human anatomy and physiology. GRE, General Test Score, for all PhD applicants and for Master of Science in Exercise Science is mandatory. The IELTS score for those who did not study in English, IELTS or TOEFL is required. For IELTS, it's a minimum of 6.5. For TOEFL, it's 79. Exemption if possible. If the applicant has studied in English, then he'd be exempted from providing the score. Can I have the next slide, please? So for the admission requirements, the application is done online through our website. You need to fill out your information. Then you have to upload the following documents. You need the academic transcript and grading scale, as I mentioned, copy of TOEFL oral score, or an exemption letter for those who have proof that they have studied in their university. They can provide that letter. And GRE where is required, which is the PhD programs and the Master of Science in Exercise Science. personal statement where you talk about yourself and your interest in the program and what you want to achieve from the program. Identification documents, passport and ID, latest and updated CV, minimum 2 recommendation letters to be directly sent to recommendations email, as you can see on the screen, minimum of 3 if you are applying for exercise science. So the deadline is March 15, next month, for Qataris and residents. For those, because I saw one of the questions regarding international applicants, the deadline has already passed for international applicants on February 1st. So this date is mainly for Qataris and Qatar residents only. And you can see here the contact information for the college. Yeah, you can visit the college at chls.hbku.edu.qa, where you can find all the contact information for the faculty. And you can also email us directly for the admissions, admissions.chls@hbku.edu.qa. Next slide, please, America. And yeah.
Thank you, Mohammed, for the informative presentation. This concludes our session. We will now go through your questions for the question and answer session. So there are some questions which you've answered already, Mohammed Salat. I will just repeat it for everyone's benefit. Are there any undergraduate courses? Unfortunately, no. The only undergrad program we have is a BSc in computer engineering under CSE. Another question is, could you elaborate on how equipped are the labs in the division, instruments, etc., where PhD students are able to conduct their whole project in-house, and are there collaborations with other universities internationally with shared projects? Thank you. Dr. George, Dr. Ramatar, would you like to take this?
Yeah, I already answered the instrument. We have all the essential instruments, and we are well equipped at all different levels in terms of cell biology, molecular biology, and we are collaborating with different institutes locally and internationally, and we're using core facilities to come up with answers to all the relevant technical issues that we can have for any research project. So we are really equipped to do every single part of the science from inside a test tube to an elaborate animal like C. elegans and so on. And I have seen another question related to projects in genomics and precision medicine that I did not answer, but I'm answering here, is that we have different projects covering all different diseases, from cardiovascular to cancer to neurodegenerative diseases, and especially looking at gene modification, epigenetic modulation, and of course pharmacogenomic aspect of these diseases by collaborating with Qatar Genome Project and different clinicians at CIDRA and at Hamad, and of course with different international institutions like the Imagine and UK Biobank.
Thank you, Dr. Nemo. There's another question regarding recommendation letter, and Mohammed Salat informed you that minimum 2 are required, and he will talk to you about that in a minute, which he did, I think.
Regarding recommendation letters, as I mentioned, there are 2 recommendation letters required for for the 4 programs, but for Masters of Science in Exercise Science, it's 3 recommendation letters, and all to be sent to recommendations email, recommendations@hbku.edu.qa.
So Ahmad Hani has a question regarding registration for MS requirements. What grading system does the university you attend or graduated from use?
Okay. Yeah, one of the questions in the application is what grading system is his university or the applicant's university is using, and he answered with percentage. This is fine for us. We just require a grading scale for us to convert it to the GPA system.
There are several questions. Thank you. There are some questions regarding the international student application deadline, which you've already answered. Ibrahim has a question. Can a degree in human anatomy satisfy the admission requirement for MS Biological and Biomedical Sciences?
That all very much depends on, we'll have to take a look closer at the type of courses that the students have taken and see if it matches the fit with what he or she wants to do.
Thank you, Dr. Ramatar. Sibi has a question. Is GRE an absolute requirement for the PhD program? When is the last date for international application for a PhD?
GRE is mandatory for PhD programs, and the international application date has already passed on February 1st.
Amna has asked if I'm a pharmacist with pharmaceutical chemistry master at Khartoum University, is it possible to apply for the program in BBS?
Yes, it is. I mean, we have students who are actually coming from the pharmacology department from various different universities, and there are also some of the students are also trained in pharmacy. So yes, but one of the requirements will be that we just have to make sure that you have the prerequisite to enter into the program. And if you don't, we would suggest to take certain electives to meet that requirement.
Thank you, Dr. Ramatar. Rajwa has a question. Is it possible to apply for exercise science if I did my UG in biotechnology?
Hi, Rajaj. I answered the question before, but just to repeat, what we would do is we would look at the sort of the requirements for the application as a whole. So one of the things that's important is to have at least some of your undergraduate courses would need to be in human anatomy and physiology as a bare minimum. But then we would also look at the letter and the other aspects of the application. But I would say yes, because we are looking to collaborate on exercise science projects with the other divisions as well. So biotechnology might even come in handy for one of those projects, that background.
Dr. Nathan, she also wants to know if there are any job opportunities for exercise science. Is it research-oriented or job-oriented?
So the degree program is research-oriented. And so what that means is it's training you to become a researcher. So to go on and perhaps do a research degree. And however, what I will say is that the area of evidence-based practice in exercise science is something that's really, it's spilled over from the area of medicine, and it's spilling over into the discipline of exercise science. So currently around the world, many people who are choosing to go into clinical exercise science or applied exercise science as opposed to research are finding benefit from doing a research degree, okay, because they are better trained at applying or translating evidence and scientific evidence from research into clinical practice. So I would say that the degree is it's not something that would be a barrier to doing applied exercise science as opposed to a future research career.
Thank you, Dr. Nathan. Ibrahim has a question. What capacity of students does the MS BBS have for 2021 intake?
I'm not so sure I understood the question very well, but the capacity in terms of the number of students who are taking in?
Yes, I believe that's what he wants to know.
Right. I mean, it's always depend on the budget and so forth, but normally we'll take in 10 students per year into the program.
Thank you, Dr. Amtar. I'm an international student. The application asked for IELTS result copy sent to the university. I contacted British Council, Bangladesh. They are not sending any hard copy. I sent an ETRF of my score. Will it work? Salat, I think this one's for you.
If there is only a scan or like she can upload only the score, and we can identify from that, and we can check with the British Council regarding the score with the code of the student. That would be sufficient enough. We don't need a hard copy for that.
I have a few more questions for you, if it's okay. Next cycle for international application, I believe there is none for this year.
Yeah, it has already passed.
Thank you. Does the admission open once a year or twice?
If there's any extension or of any kind, we will notify the applicant on our website. But for now, there is no news about anything because it has already passed.
Thank you. The admission, is it open once a year or twice?
It's once a year. It's one intake.
Thank you. Is it possible to get scholarship for these programs? If yes, what kind of scholarships will be provided?
And Dean, can you elaborate?
So to get scholarship or to apply for scholarship, to be admitted. Once we have the admitted students, they apply through a link that admissions will provide them, and we shortlist the students based on their current standing and inform the students on the scholarship much before the semester starts. Okay, when the admissions for international students will be sent. So they want to know when the results for admissions will be declared.
Well, from our side, from the admission side, we are trying to follow up with all the applications as soon as possible, because we know the cycle is ending in 15th of March. We just had the current cycle end, so we're trying to finish with the current cycle. But our goal is to have all the students have their admission or rejection results given by May end.
Okay, thank you. There's a question from Anis. Is there scholarships provided for international students? Yes, scholarships are available to all students, regardless of if you're local or international. It would depend on your whole application. Next question. I'm currently in my final year of study at University of Malaysia, majoring in Bachelor of Science with honors, Biotechnology. I will finish all my coursework and industrial training by end of June this year. Can I apply for September intake? I guess so.
For now, it's already too late as an international student, but if she has already applied, then yes, we'll consider her application, because we would only require her final transcript to be given as soon as she gets it. But her current GPA has to be above 3. But if she didn't apply, it has already passed.
Thank you, Salat. What courses I have to be done in undergraduate if my bachelor degree was in biology science to apply for master in genomics and precision medicine? Dr. George?
So if you have a major in biology, you don't need to have additional courses taken. So just provide us with your GPA and all the required information, and that's it.
Thank you. Carla has a question. Do we submit the GRE results at the time of admission, or it can be given later?
It's preferred to have them along with the application, but if, let's say, for example, they made the application today and the GRE score will come in like 2 weeks, they should provide that in 2 weeks. not way behind the deadline.
Thank you. Dr. Edward, there is a question if there are fully funded scholarships available for residents of Qatar.
Yeah, the scholarships are composed of three parts. There's the tuition waiver, there's a stipend, and housing. And the parts that are given to each student depend upon the status of that student. So they're competitive. The scholarships are initially competitive among all the students offered admission. If one has a job, then they do not get the stipend part. If they live locally, then they do not get the housing. But international students are eligible for all three parts, and stipends are eligible for those students who are not working. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Edward. Mohammed Salah, there's a question from a student who applied 3 years ago. Can he reuse the same account, especially recommendation letters, or he needs new ones?
No, it's fine. He can use his account, even the recommendation letters. It's fine, unless he's applying to a different program than the one he applied for before.
Is there any specific age limit to enroll for the master's program?
No.
What if there are no dates available for GRE exam before the deadline?
For that, the applicants have to check ets.org, the testing institution that's responsible for providing GRE tests around the world. We are accepting online GRE because we know with the current pandemic ongoing, so we are accepting GRE, and they can check the website for that.
Thank you. Bushra asked if a graduation statement appears after the deadline, can she do an online application without it and then submit it when it's ready?
Yes, she can.
Great. Marwan is asking, he has a bachelor's in anesthesia and critical care nursing. Is she or he eligible to be accepted in MSc in BBS?
Sure, she can. We have few nurses in our program already, so she is welcome to apply. And again, if she doesn't have the requirements or the prerequisite for the program, we will always advise her to take certain electives to match what the program requires.
Thank you, Dr. Ramatar. So these are all the questions I've gone through. If you have any more questions, let us know.
Malika, there's a question from Shija Sharban, I believe, and they're asking, and she is asking for the various courses that are the mandatory courses for the BBS MS program, as well as electives. So I can quickly, if you send me an email, I'll tell you what those are, but I can quickly tell you what the courses are, the mandatory courses. It's research methods and ethics. It's applied biostatistics, advanced molecular biology, advanced cell biology, and advanced human physiology. In addition to that, you have a selection of 15, you have more than 15 courses where you can actually select the electives that you want to take.
Thank you, Dr. Ramatar. There is another question regarding job opportunities, if they are available, if she graduated from Genomics and Precision Medicine from HBKU.
Yeah, I would say that they have plenty of opportunities for graduate in genomics and precision medicine in different areas, not only in academia, where you can become a professor, but also in clinical research, where you can also supervise or be leading clinical research and translational research in hospitals, but also you can be part of industry, pharma industry, and of course you can be part of health-related governmental offices who are taking care of policies, because we are also providing some information about policies related to the ethical use of human data, etc. And this would be something to be considering in terms of looking at job opportunities if you graduate with genomics and precision medicine.
Thank you, Dr. Naima. Rajwa has a question. Is it possible to do my internship for my undergrad here?
Currently, we are not offering internships for undergrad, and we're looking forward to establishing a program for internship in the coming years, but not for now.
Thank you. Mohammed Salah, Hiba has a question. What is the minimum score for GRE, and if you can help him open his old account?
Sure, I will share my, regarding the old account, I will share my contact information. Regarding GRE, there's no minimum score, but usually the average GRE scores for those who are admitted is between 152 and 155. So with that average, the applicant is fine, I guess.
Thank you, Mohammed. Fatima has asked the same question again. Can we complete the online application without the score for GRE and submit it later when available?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
But as soon as possible.
Is GRE required for master's degree student for exercise time?
The GRE is mandatory, yes.
She just says it's very difficult for her to get a recommendation letter since she did her MSc in 2008.
If she has any contacts during her undergraduate studies or any, if possible, during her master's, or she's working in some place, we need 2 recommendations from there.
Thank you. So this is the last question for today. Mahadi is asking if he has a BSc in food science and MSc in veterinary public health, where he worked on microbes. He applied to BBS and GPM master's degree. What are his chances if we can give him a response?
So the chances are like the others, you know. We are looking at the cumulative score. So we are going to look at your GPA, and of course the letters that you write, and of course the letters of recommendation, and probably we're going to schedule an interview with you to have the whole package evaluated. So your chances are as good as the others, because the background is going to be something that we would like to have also for our students, whether it is in GPM or BBS.
Thank you, Dr. Naima. Last question, would you consider an extension of application deadline for international students, looking at the information session event is happening after the deadline for international students? Would be great if we were given the chance for at least a week, if possible.
We did also an information session before that for the international students and also the Qatari and residents. And this is another information session after the deadline has passed. It's intended to be direct to Qataris and residents. If there are any extensions or a new cycle to be opened by admission, we will post that in the official website. But as of now, there's no news or anything regarding that.
Thank you. Rawan has asked if people who have applied, is there an interview before they will be admitted? Yes, Rawan, for students who will be shortlisted, there will be interviews scheduled. Mohammed has asked, I have applied for Master of Science in BBS program, but his IELTS verification has not been completed by the center yet. Is it okay?
Yes, it's fine. As soon as he gets the verification, he can send it to the admissions email, admissions.hls, or he can send it directly to me. My email is there. I just sent it through the chat, and it would be fine. It's not a big issue.
Thank you. So now, what is the age limit for masters? As Mohammed Salah said before, there is no age limit. Kala has asked, do you have any other scholarship, sponsorship, educational loan scheme available for candidates who are resident at Qatar, currently working with normal salary, staying with family?
Do you want me to answer that, or
No.
We have already answered the question regarding
scholarship, yes.
scholarships.
There are additional scholarships available through JustRAS for long-time resident, and you might want to Google that for more information. Is it possible to send letters of recommendation after submitting the application to register in the master's program?
Yes, but not very far between the application, because we will look into the application, and once we require the recommendations, we need them to be there, or else the application will be considered incomplete. So with an incomplete application, even if let's say the committee approves of the student, we cannot admit him that the recommendation letter, as it's one of the requirements.
Thank you. GRE, is it not required for BBS program? It is required for PhD programs and Master of Exercise Science, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. How many students possible to be accepted per year in Genomics and Precision Masters program? So each year we have 7 to 10 students depending on the budget in each program. Sana asked, I'm an international student. I've completed Masters in Biotechnology. I want to pursue Masters in Bioinformatics. Am I eligible?
I just want to answer, Sana, that we are offering now a master's program and PhD program in genomics and precision medicine. Bioinformatics is not offered as a specialty, but we have one course, an introduction to data science in the program of genomics and precision medicine PhD program. But for the master's program, we don't have a bioinformatic course. We are hoping to launch a new program, a master's and a PhD program in translational bioinformatics, but however, it will not be available before 2022.
Thank you, Dr. Nemo. I have another question for you. Saeed is asking if it's okay to contact a desired supervisor for masters in GPM.
Of course, you're welcome to contact any of the professors in the listed web page for the different faculty members. But this does not mean that you'll be accepted or you're going to do your research with that faculty. Just for info on what they are doing and what are the potential projects, yes, of course, you are welcome to do that.
Thank you. Hibe has asked if he can have details regarding the courses for both PhD programs to compare. You can look at the website and you will find all information. You are also welcome to email the division heads if you need further information. Anis has a question. I graduated from Faculty of Medicine, which my study was conducted in English. Is it enough for language requirement, or I have to do IELTS?
No, it is enough. But usually we require a letter from the university stating that the studies were conducted in English.
Another question regarding GRE, is it not required for GPM master's program?
What's that, GRE?
Yes.
Masters.
Could you repeat that answer, please? They are asking about GRE for BBS and GPM programs.
Yeah. So So the GRE is not required for the master's program in BBS or GPM. It is only required for the PhD program in both.
Thank you. I'm an international student and apply for MSc in Genomics and Precision Medicine. Is it possible to submit letter that indicates bachelor's degree was taken in English as language of instruction in my previous university? What should I do? Can I submit the letter through the university email?
He already applied. That's his point, right? Did he apply or he did not apply yet?
Yes, it says I applied for master's in Genomics and Precision Medicine.
Yeah, it's fine. I already given my email, or he can send it to the admissions email, and we'll once we see that his application does not include the letter, we'll add it.
Okay, thank you. Students who are not accepted, will they be informed once evaluations are done? Yes, they will be once the admission cycle is completely over and we have the accepted and waitlisted students. I have applied for MS and BBS. What if student has provided proficiency certificate and not taken IELTS? And the number of seats are 10, right? It's 7 to 10 seats per program. I'll let you answer the rest.
Again, the question.
They have applied for MS BBS. What if a student has provided proficiency certificate but not taken IELTS?
It's fine. It's completely fine.
That's it for now. So thank you all for your questions and for attending the session. I wish you the best of luck and looking forward to a rewarding interactions with all of you and making CHLS your place of knowledge and happiness. Thank you for your time again.